Oh, absolutely. And, I use that all the time when I talk about fair use on my own projects because, like you said, until we had access to these, news archives at a reasonable rate or the stuff that's on YouTube or in the C-SPAN archives, it was almost impossible to make these films just budget-wise because, to license a 90-second clip, they want $10,000. And I'm sorry, I just don't have $10,000 to license a 90-second clip in a movie that's going to be 90 minutes to 2 hours long. It really cripples what we're able to do. We're coming up on a break, but in the final segment, I want to see what's next for Kirby Dick. What's next for this film, Outrage? I mean, after HBO, where is it going to go? Is it going to be out there on DVD? Because I haven't seen it out in the stores yet. Are you going to continue to put it into indie theaters? What's your next project? I'm excited about that. Where can people check out all of your material?
Should I answer that now?
Yeah. Just tell them where they can get your material now, and then we'll go over that other stuff in the next segment.
There's a lot. I have a lot of stuff out on DVD, so you could probably get, you can get it on Netflix, you get it on Amazon, you get it in a,
There's no KirbyDick.com?
KirbyDick.com is in the process of getting redone, so shortly, yes, you could pull it off of there as well.
All right, we'll be back with Kirby Dick for the final segment. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Don't nobody know my trouble but God.
All right, folks, final segment with filmmaker Kirby Dick. This film is not yet rated, and more recently, Outrage, all over HBO right now. I know I hit you up with a lot of things at the end there, but what's the future of this new film, Outrage? Are we going to see it on DVD shortly? And then what's your next project?
Well, Outrage will be playing on HBO the rest of the month, and I think somewhat into November, and then it will come out on DVD. I think it's January 19th. And my next project, I'm going back to DC, but I can't say anything more about it.
Oh, come on!
I can't. I'm sorry. If I talked about closeted politicians on a show before I'd made the film, I wouldn't have gotten anything on them. So,
well, I'll agree with you there.
As much as I'd love to let your listeners know, I got to keep it sort of keep it under the radar at this point.
Well, I completely understand, and let me just say this. Let me give the one small criticism that I have for this film. Now, in the beginning, you talk about a scandal in the 50s very briefly, but I think that and, Mark Foley, who you touch on very shortly, really have to be differentiated because Foley was caught, trying to have sex with a 16-year-old Paige. And in the beginning, in that 50s scandal, some of these guys were caught with underage boys. I think there's a huge difference when they cross the line into pedophilia, whether it would be a boy or a girl. And, I think that those people do need to be treated as criminals because I know that you have a extensive interview with one of Foley's aides throughout the whole thing. Correct?
Right.
And I feel like those are different issues. And even Barney Frank, who in the late 80s, early 90s, got caught running his boyfriend, Stephen Goby, who he put on a payroll, got caught running a prostitution ring out of his D.C. apartment and then over at the local Chevy Chase middle school for like 9 to 12-year-olds. I'm not a huge fan of Barney Frank. I know that he gave you some good interviews. He had some good insight. He got a slap on the wrist for that. And Mark Foley didn't do any prison time, didn't go to jail for what he did. He's fallen into the background. I hope he doesn't get, any more political accolades, any more positions out there. I hope he's not just able to apologize and have it all go away. Surely you find there's a difference between, people that are closeted homosexuals that vote against, gay legislation than people that are pedophiles, correct?
Oh, yeah. And that goes for whether they're straight or gay. And in fact, I think there's more of a propensity for, straight people to be pedophiles, I think, percentage-wise than gays. But when it comes to, Mark Foley, the reason we didn't actually focus on Mark Foley was he wasn't a hypocrite. Initially, early when he came into office in the 90s, he did vote anti-gay, but he quickly changed his voting record and, went ahead and voted pro-gay. So even though he was closeted, certainly, and it was a huge scandal, he wasn't a hypocrite, and that's what our film was focusing on, hypocrisy. Now, obviously it's completely irresponsible for him to be having any kind of relationships with, pages. That's I think it's not only political suicide, but very irresponsible. You know, in D.C., the law, I think the age of consent is 16. So, you know, there's no pedophilia at all at play here. So, you know, you can't call Mark Foley a pedophile. You can call him, you know, irresponsible. You can call him, you know, dishonest. He wasn't out. He was, you know, in many ways try to pretend that, you know, he was straight certainly to his constituency, but he's not a pedophile.
Okay. Well, I disagree, but, you know, we'll have to disagree on that one.
I mean, the age of consent, you know, 16. I mean, that's, I mean, you might disapprove of it, but that's the law. You know.
No, I hear you, but even in the states where they have, you know, the age of consent at 14, I'm still like, you know, we need to change that law. But I hear you. I understand where you're coming from there.
Right.
What's your favorite, in the last 90 seconds of this interview, what's your favorite part about this movie? I mean, what's the section that really is a standout section in the film?
Well, what I like is that I focus on Charlie Crist, the current governor of Florida. I mean, here's a person who could, you know, is a very popular governor. He's probably going to end up being senator, may end up running for president. And he had an opportunity to really change history in Florida by not supporting Amendment 2, which not only outlawed gay marriage, but outlawed civil unions. And because he was afraid that people would think he was gay, he supported that. And not only that, he went out and got married. Now, here's a closeted man getting married, and what I like about it is I got some wonderful footage of you know, there. I was there at the wedding, and I got, you know, probably the best footage of any news organization. I just happened to be in the right place. And so you really see the tragedy is here's a man who may someday be president and is still, you know, closeted. And I think if we think about it, you know, it's going to be a very tragic situation if we have a closeted president, and particularly one who's still, you know, hypocrite and voting anti-gay.
Well, Kirby Dick, you're a very talented filmmaker. I think your films are on the cutting edge and very important, both socially and politically out there. Go check them out. KirbyDick.com is under construction, but you can check everything out over at Netflix, and HBO has Outrage right now. Thank you so much. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas.